Assalamualaikum and greetings. My name is Aliana Soha binti Ilyas with the metric number 297885. So today, we are from Group 1 and we will be presenting about the role of central banks in managing the money supply, tools, strategies and challenges. So I will begin with the introduction. What exactly is a central bank? A central bank is the institution responsible for overseeing a country's monetary system. Its main role is to ensure the stability of the currency, control inflation, support economic growth, and safeguard the financial system. In Malaysia, our central bank is known as Bank Negara Malaysia or BNM. It was established in 1959 and is responsible for formulating and implementing monetary policy to maintain price stability, promote economic growth and preserve the value of the Malaysian ringgit. One of the most important tasks in BNM is managing the money supply, which refers to the total amount of money circulating in the economy. If too much money is in circulation, it can cause inflation, where prices rise too quickly. But if there is too little money, economy can slow down, leading to a reduced spending and investment. To handle this balance, central bank use several tools such as open market operation (OMO), the reserve required ratio, the discount rate, and moral suasion. This instrument allows the central bank to influence how much money is available in the banking system, which directly affects borrowing, lending, and spending across the country. In this presentation, we'll break down how these tools work, how they have been used in Malaysia, and the challenges central banks face in today's global and digital economy.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Siti Nadira binti Bakar. My metric number is 292091. Today I'm going to explain how the central bank controls the money supply in our country. The central bank has four main tools. The first one is open market operation. The second one is reserve requirement ratio. Third one is discount rate, and the last but not least, moral suasion. The first one is open market operation. Open market operation means the central bank buy or sell government bonds in the market. The main goal is to control the amount of money in the country and to keep the interest rate stable. It is very flexible tools, and many central bank like Bank Negara Malaysia and the US Federal use it. So, if the central bank wants more money in circulation, it buys back government bonds from banks. The bank then have more cash to lend, which can increase the money supply and drop the interest rate. But if the central bank wants to reduce money supply, it sells its bonds. Bank pay for these bonds and now have less cash to lend, which can decrease the money supply and increase the interest rate. Next is reserve requirement ratio. The reserve requirement is the amount of deposit a bank must keep safely with itself or with the central bank. It is a percentage of all deposit, and the bank cannot use this money to give loans. It's kept aside in case people want to withdraw their deposit. So, in reserve requirement ratio, if the central bank lowers the reserve ratio, banks can lend more, which can increase the money supply. And if it increase the reserve ratio, bank have to keep more cash in reserve and cannot lend as much, so the money supply will drops. The third one is discount rate. The discount rate is the interest rate that the central bank charge bank when they borrow money. So if the discount rate is low, bank borrow more and can lend more to people. And if the discount rate is high, borrowing is more expensive and bank will lend less. So if the discount rate is lowered, bank borrow more from the central bank at a cheaper rate. That means bank can lend more to people and businesses, which can increase the money supply. But if the discount rate is raised, borrowing is more expensive and bank will borrow less. It means that less lending and decrease in money supply. Last but not least, moral suasion. Moral suasion means the central bank meets directly with banks. It asks banks to help by following its policy. The bank do this voluntarily, not because of the law. So it depends on whether the bank agree to cooperate. Sometimes the central bank just asks bank directly to be careful with their lending. So during inflation, it may ask bank to cut back on loans. So the money supply will decrease. During a slowdown, it may encourage banks to lend more, especially to small businesses. So the money supply will increase.
My name is Tan Chi Chong, number 3030999, and I will continue with strategies for managing money supply by Bank Negara Malaysia, which is inflation targeting, exchange rate management, and managing liquidity in the banking system. For the first one, inflation targeting, Bank Negara Malaysia will use the overnight policy rate (OPR) as its main tool in the banking system. When the inflation rises, BNM will increase the OPR. When the inflation slows down, Bank Negara Malaysia lowers the OPR. For example, in 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, BNM cut the OPR multiple times to a record low of 1.75% to stimulate the economy. Next strategy is exchange rate management. Malaysia adopts a managed flow system where the ringgit in Malaysia's value is determined by the market forces, but BNM may intervene to prevent extreme fluctuation. BNM might buy or sell foreign currencies in the forex market, use the foreign exchange reserve to influence the ringgit's value. For example, during periods of capital outflow or ringgit depreciation, such as in 2015 and 2022, BNM intervened by selling US dollars to support the ringgit value. The last strategies in this study case, which is managing liquidity in the banking system, Bank Negara Malaysia will use tools such as statutory reserve requirement (SRR), which is banks are required to keep a certain percentage of their deposit with Bank Negara Malaysia, and increasing the SRR will reduce the money available for lending, tightening the money supply. Decreasing the SRR will increase lending capacity, expanding money supply. Other than that, Bank Negara Malaysia also will use tools such as open market operation, which is Bank Negara Malaysia will buy or sells the government securities to managing the liquidity in the banking system. And for example, in March 2020, Bank Negara Malaysia will use the SRR from 3% to 2% to free up the 30 ringgit Malaysia billion in liquidity during the early phase of the pandemic.
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nur Ansha binti Mokhtar. My matric number is 292094. Today, I briefly present some key challenges faced by central bank with focuses on Malaysia experience. These include globalization, financial crisis, digital innovation, and maintaining policy independence. As the world becomes more connected and tax-driven, central banks face greater complexity. They must handle volatile capital flow, financial shock, digital disruption, and work effectively with government while staying independent. Global market impact local stability. For instance, when the US changes interest rate, it affects investment in Malaysia. Bank Negara Malaysia use a flexible exchange rate and manage capital flow to reduce risk. Crises like COVID-19 show how vulnerable we are. Bank Negara Malaysia responded by calling for stronger social protection and safety net to boost resilience. Fintech and digital currencies offer efficiency but come with risks like cyber threats. Bank Negara Malaysia is carefully studying central bank digital currency and has framework to regulate fintech safely. Bank Negara Malaysia is independent but work with the government to align goals like inflation control and growth. This balance ensures better, more stable outcome. In short, central banks like Bank Negara Malaysia face evolving challenges and must be flexible, cautious, and collaborative to maintain economic stability.
Next, I will talk about the first case study related to BNM role during COVID-19 pandemic. Firstly, BNM adopt an explanatory monetary policy by lowering interest rate and reduce overnight policy rate (OPR) to a record low 1.75%. This will make borrowing cheaper, encourage both consumer spending and businesses investment during a time of economy down. Besides that, BNM also introduced financial support programs to provide individual and businesses. For example, loan maturity will implement and allow SME and individual to delay their loan repayment. Furthermore, BNM also focused on maintaining financial stability. They're closely monitoring the financial system to ensure it remains strong and liquidity. Additionally, the statutory reserve requirement (SRR) was lowering to ensure more funds for the bank to live and credit continuously flowing to support economic activity. In conclusion, it reduced the economic decline and eased the financial stress on businesses and households by ensuring liquidity and supporting borrowing. BNM helped stabilize the economy during challenging period. Second case study is about BNM role during ASEAN financial crisis. Firstly, BNM pegging the ringgit to USD dollar at a fixed rate 3 ringgit 80 cents to 1 USD dollar. This will stop speculation, attack, and stabilize in currency. Other than that, BNM also implement explanatory monetary policy by lowering interest rate to stimulate growth, while other countries raises interest rate to defend their currency. This will lead borrowing cheaper, help businesses survive, and encourage investment. BNM also tackled the root of the crisis with bank. This has established two key institutions, Dana Hatta, purchased bad debt from bank to clean up their balance sheet, and Dana Model, recapitalizing bank to restore their financial health. Those measurements rebuild confidence in the financial system and ensure bank could support economy recover. In conclusion, Malaysia recovered faster compared to the neighbor country. Ringgit also remained stable until the pegging was lifted in 2005. This banking system remains strong and more stability. The third case study is about BNM role in managing inflation during War, Russia and Ukraine. Firstly, BNM has implemented contractionary monetary policy by raising overnight policy rate (OPR) from 1.75% to 3%. This makes borrowing more expensive and helps slow down the spending and reduce the inflation. Besides that, BNM also gives communication and guidelines by providing consultation update to public and market while interest rates are rising. It helps solve inflation expectation and prevent business rapidly increase in price. Lastly, is maintaining economic growth. BNM raised the interest rate in the small step to avoid downturn economic recovery after COVID-19. It's balance between control inflation and support economic growth.
To conclude our presentation, let's review the key takeaways on the role of central bank, especially Bank Negara Malaysia. In managing the money supply, we have seen that central banks are essential for maintaining economic stability. Using tools like open market operations, reserve requirement, the discount rate, and moral suasion, they can either increase or decrease the money supply depending on the needs of the economy. For example, during a recession, BNM may increase the money supply by lowering interest rates and buying back government securities, making it easier for people and businesses to borrow and spend. On the other hand, during periods of high inflation, it might reduce the money supply by increasing interest rate or selling securities to slow down spending. Bank Negara Malaysia also adopts broader strategies such as inflation targeting, managing the overnight policy rate (OPR), and intervening in the foreign exchange market when necessary to stabilize the ringgit. However, managing the money supply is not without its challenges. Globalization has made Malaysia more sensitive to external financial shocks. Central banks also face rising pressure from digital innovation such as cryptocurrency and fintech, which are changing how money flows. Moreover, they must strike a balance between staying independent and working in coordination with government fiscal policies. In summary, central banks like BNM are not just financial regulators, they are key guardians of economic stability. By managing the money supply wisely, they help to prevent crisis, guide the economy through uncertainty, and ensure sustainable growth for the nation. That's all from our group. Thank you.